because they have negative associations with the word, and that's their own history of their experience with the word. But I see my goals and my relationship with my goals as one of the most sacred things that I have, because I see them as a relationship with myself.
Mm.
And so those proxy, when someone comes in and says, hey, sweetie, you've been working too much. According to what? Why should I stop? Right? Now let's do this other thing. And people will probably see this as they'll put whatever labels they want on it. But like I just said, this is what I would like to do with my life. And if you can incorporate yourself into that, that would be amazing. And so my second date with Layla, after we talked about business for 4 hours on our first date, was I said, I'm going to be working all day. It'd be cool if you worked with me. And she just worked next to me. She had her own thing, but she just worked beside me. And I was like, this is nice. And over time, eventually was like, hey, maybe you want to work on my thing with me. And she was like, yeah, that sounds good. It was a little bit more than that, but like fundamentally, I got her to switch to working on it with me. And at that point, what we got to talk about was what we were creating together. And to me, that's been, the journey of my life. And it's been amazing. And I'm not saying it works for everyone. I'm saying it probably doesn't work for most people, but it has worked really well for me. And it would make sense for me that my path would be different than most people's, because I don't behave like most people. And so I would have to have a different formula for how I derive, meaning or joy from my own life. And since I don't believe in inherent meaning, just the meaning that we choose to ascribe to things, then it's up to me to create that meaning within the work that I do. And so the reason acquisition.com was all based on, and it was during that year where I just basically had nothing to do, where I was like, what do I want to do with my life? Because I don't need to work anymore. And that was, we'd taken 40 out before the sale, and then we obviously got the sale. So like, I don't need to work. I like to work. And I try to spend, I look at, I had this boss that told me this, and was one of the catalysts for looking at life this way. She said, I had just had like a good weekend or something, and I came in like chipper. And she said, well, you must have had a good weekend. And I was like, yeah, it was good. And she said this, it was like an offhanded comment. And she said, I'm pretty sure the key to happiness is living as many days in a row like that as you can. And it was actually like really operational. Like I was like, I can use this. Like, what are the good days? How do I live as many of those days in a row as I can? And so I've been attacked for like saying that I don't really enjoy going on vacation very much. And it's because like, I just want to get back to doing the thing that I really enjoy doing. And I remember Layla and I went to Mexico this year for a week. And it's always during the week of Christmas because no one works and it drives me nuts. And I've just given up trying to get everyone to work. Because even if my team will work, because my team will, because they're crazy too, other teams won't and vendors won't. And it's just anyway. And so while we were there, all I came out with was like, this is for other people and not me. Comma, and that's okay.
Earlier on when we were talking about...
Sorry, that was a long rant.
No, it's beautiful because a couple of takeaways from it, but earlier on we were talking about being a great content creator is a byproduct of having the courage to be yourself. Mm. And from that, everything you just said.
My soliloquy.
Yeah, I also gleaned something similar, which is being happy requires the same thing, which is the courage to be yourself. And in the previous analogy, you said everybody is unique.
Yeah.
And that is their value as it relates to showing up in marketing or with whatever product they have. But also, when I think about Alex's story, your story, and all you went through with your father and the early experiences in that consultancy firm, the gym, the fur place you worked, logically, from first principles, the thing that's going to make you happy, because you are completely unique, is going to be completely different from everybody else.
Right.
Like, to varying degrees, depending on how you sort of defining your early experiences are. But I actually think we talked about the courage of being yourself. There's also the courage of being happy. Mm-hmm. And with the courage of being happy, you have to withstand public pressure, the shoulds you said from your parents, whatever, from social media, especially as you become a bigger creator, to actually just listen to how you feel every day.
Can I throw something out that I think might so this blew my mind. So I was in around that same period of time, because I talked to everybody I could to try and get context on this. And so I called a friend of mine up, or not friend, I would say acquaintance that I got connected with, who'd sold his company for hundreds of millions of dollars, really bright guy. And one of the questions I asked him, I said, so how do you derive meaning from your life? And he said an answer that really, really shook me, which doesn't happen that much given my worldview. He said, why do you think that life needs to be meaningful? And it was just this really interesting question, which is basically that I had an unspoken demand of the universe. Life should be meaningful. I should be happy. And so it's the shoulds that we don't even know that we think and say that are the ones that change us the most, like hardcore. And so my favorite quote of all time, which is probably at the front of a few of the books that I have, and will probably be the one that'll be on my tombstone, is a permutation of an Orson Scott Card quote, which is, we question all of our beliefs except for those that we truly believe, and those we never think to question.
Mm.
And so I would say that a lot of my entrepreneurial career, even just human journey, has been, what are the beliefs that I so inherently believe that I don't even see them? I don't even think about the should. And so when he said that to me, I was like, whoa, I have had this inherent demand of the universe that my life be meaningful. And now people would hear this and be like, they have their shoulds and they're going to say, well, it should be meaningful. And I'm like, why? According to what? And if we look at history pretty much sweeps everyone under the bed, like within 100 years, and within 1,000 years, basically everyone. And the people that we remember some of their works, and we go 100,000 years in the future or 10,000 years in the future, probably unlikely that we will be remembered in general. And that is solving for the idea that we need to be remembered. Again, we have to. Why? And so my solving has been for degrees of freedom and responsibility. So what are the things that I can control? And I will do the very best of my ability to try and do the things within my control to ideally make other people's lives better and my own in the process. Now, that is a choice rather than I demand that of the universe. And this gets really abstract and heady really fast. And so I will try and bring us back down to earth. But by demanding that life be meaningful, by demanding that I be happy, when I understood that I was demanding these things and pursuing them, that they were outside of me, by saying I need to do this, that I created inherent space that I could never gap or I could never close. And so by trying to forget or eliminate the demand is where it was the first time that I experienced those things. And so I try to keep them out of my head to the greatest degree possible so that I can be inside of them. That sounds weird. Rather than in pursuit. And so the times where I derive the most joy from my life, if I'm optimizing for that, which is, I wouldn't necessarily say that I am optimizing for joy. I think Williamson was like, you definitely optimize for purpose or meaning or something like that. And I kind of reject a lot of it, mostly because I do what I have been rewarded for doing in the past. And so because I have a behaviorist view of the world, which is that everything boils down to behaviors, why do I do these things? I do these things because when I have done them in the past, I have enjoyed the result. And so I continue to do things that I've enjoyed the result of. And if other people have done things that they enjoy the result of, then I encourage you to keep doing them. And I also encourage you to not project that other people need to also do those things and that they will experience the same result as you, because they might not.
Alex, thank you.
Oh,
that was
thank
such a beautiful way to end. And it's so interesting because if people attack you for that, I just wanted to give my own perspective. Is when I hear you say these things about not enjoying holidays and things about your relationship with Layla and how that happens. For me, I feel, even if I don't agree with 100%, I probably get to 95%, to be honest with you. The fact that you're telling me that you're different makes my difference, whatever it might be, feel acceptable. Do you know what I'm saying?
I 100% know what you're saying.
Because when I heard you say these things, and I go, oh my God, Alex feels like he's different from the normal too. We might not be, me and Alex aren't the same, but we both feel inherently like we're not playing by the rules and therefore in some way getting life wrong based on this like public narrative of the way we should live our lives. I thought, oh, amazing. I remember watching the video where you talked about not liking going on holidays and being like absolutely obsessed, and me thinking, oh my God, I'm so fucking glad he said that. Because deep in my heart somewhere, I felt a guilt.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
A guilt. And I'm like, where did the guilt come from?
Right.
I'm doing it something that I love every single day, but I feel guilty. Well, I feel guilty because of other people's shoulds, right? So please, Alex, despite any critics that might be out there, please continue to have the courage to be yourself. Because you have no idea how it's making a group of weirdos that feel like they don't fit in, feel heard and understood for their variance.
Well, that is I mean, I make it for them.
We have a closing tradition on this podcast, as you know, where the last guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing who they're leaving it for.
Oh God.
I'm laughing because it's so ironic.
Okay. This is great.
What is the meaning of life?
Oh. Well, the short answer is obviously 42. But I actually do think it's learning. Because if we think about what learning is, it's that you're exposed to new conditions that over time change your behavior. And so you are different now than you were 10 years ago because you've learned more things. And so if we think about the meaning of life as what is the output of life, so I actually do really like this. So people talk, I can relate this to business, of course. I can relate what's the meaning of life to business. But what is the meaning of a business? The purpose of the business is whatever the output of that business is. That's the meaning. It's what the output of that business is. And so if the mission, like with Elon, is like to get to Mars, then the output of the mission is that people get to Mars. And so that's the meaning of that business. And so the meaning of life in general for me, I think for all humans, is that the output of experience is learning. And so we will learn regardless, whether we want to or not, we learn. Learning happens whether you like it or not, you will learn. And I think that that's where I would just leave it. And the question is, are you learning the things that you want?
Amen. I highly recommend people go and check out the new format you launched on your YouTube channel. It's titled Building a $1 Million Business for a Stranger in 56 Minutes. It's kind of like a new take on Shark Tank, but it's more actionable, more practical. It's what you referenced earlier, and I know it took you many, 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 many hours to perfect it, but it's a really interesting format that I think YouTube is seeking because it's so actionable and practical. And I'd highly recommend, I'll link that below, but I would also highly recommend people go and check out these books. I mean, to say they've been smash hits is a massive understatement.
Thank you.
I just see it everywhere. I feel like it's a prerequisite of any entrepreneur's toolkit when they're starting and they're trying to figure out frameworks for scaling a business, making sales, generating leads. And I know there's another one on the way, which you won't tell me about, but I know it's coming this year, which is volume 3 of this format. And I'm exceptionally excited to see it. And for any entrepreneurs out there that are looking to get in business with you, I'd highly recommend they go check out acquisition.com because there's so much there, regardless of where you are in the cycle, whether you're starting out, whether you're scaling up, whether you're looking for advice, acquisition.com is the place to be. Thank you, Alex, for your generosity. I appreciate it. And thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being weird and different because that's the value. That's all the value in the world. We don't need more of the same. We need people that have the courage to be themselves and the courage to be happy. And that's exactly who you are. And I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Isn't this cool? Every single conversation I have here on the Diary of a CEO, at the very end of it, you'll know, I ask the guest to leave a question in the Diary of a CEO. And what we've done is we've turned every single question written in the Diary of a CEO into these conversation cards that you can play at home. So you've got